Hello, my name is Chris Cramphorn. I'm an associate professor in enterprise and innovation, and I'm currently working for Edinburgh Napier. However, I have spent a number of years developing my own businesses as an entrepreneur. I've also worked within a lot of entrepreneurial ecosystems to support organizations that are looking to grow, be they startups, be they high growth firms, or in many cases as well, looking at larger organizations as well and how they can actually develop commercialization of new products and new services, as well as innovate their own internal processes. What I want to talk to you about is entrepreneurial leadership and developing an entrepreneurial culture. And I think this is a really important topic because most organizations assume that leadership only sits at the top of the organization. And for me, entrepreneurial leadership fits at all levels of the organization. So what I'm going to do is talk through some basic processes that I use and have used with both startups, high growth firms, and also as well within large organizations for new innovations. And I want to give you a set of basic tools, which are very simple, that are very, very powerful though. So what do entrepreneurial leaders look like? Well, they're people who identify opportunities, or they work with opportunities identified by other people, particularly people who follow them and with wider stakeholders. They are people, in other words, and everything is done through other people, and they influence people. They influence their followers, they influence other stakeholders, and they empower them. And what they do is they empower them to go away, think about ideas, validate them, and then convert them into a reality. And that could be a new product or a new service, but it could be anything. It could be something that works internally to the organization as well. What is crucial is they take a very systematic approach. And that systematic approach draws on the particular talent that they have in the organization within different sets of stakeholders in order to investigate those ideas and then make sure that those are valid and that they can be created. Above all, what they do is they create new entrepreneurial leaders. Those entrepreneurial leaders can exist at every level of the organization so that it builds that level of resilience. And it's done that way because it builds an entrepreneurial culture so that you can grow your organization, you can pivot, you can, in hard times, have a level of resilience. So a simple approach to doing this is thinking about how you can get other people on board. And we're looking to improve the nature and number of our followers and people who will actually work with us. And at a simple point, what we need to do is think about who am I? What do I know? Who do I know? Then from that gives us a set of means. Then it allows us to think about how are our course of action going to come about. So what can you do? Well, who can you go talk to? Go interact with them. Think about how you can get them on board and get that stakeholder commitment. And then that gives us some new means. It may be a particular level of expertise. It may be that someone wants to give you money. It may even be that someone already has something that they can let you have. But it also then gives us these new goals as well, because you've got a shared understanding. And those shared understandings allow us to have new marketplaces, products, firms, and so on. What is crucial is that this expands your set of resources, the people that you can actually work with. And by doing that, it means that you can do this relatively quite cheaply. And this is a process that I would then suggest that when you talk to your stakeholders, you get them to go through this particular process as well. How do we get there? What sort of principles could we put in place? Well, there are lots and lots of models and approaches that you could actually choose. So if you're trying to get to the moon with a ladder, you need to have particular steps. And one really useful thing is to keep it simple. I use do, check, learn. It's a simple cycle that each time I move up a step to that ladder, and this is something I've done with a number of organizations. If you want to use Eric Ries's lean startup approach, which is learn, build, measure, that's fine. Anything that's a cycle like this that allows you to understand, do something, and then get some sort of measurement, get some sort of learning out of it. That's crucial. What's important is that's not a single loop. You'll do this again and again and again, and you'll have particular progress and failure points. And by using those, it allows you to kind of systematically go forward and know at which point you will actually withdraw and at which point you will actually move up to the next step on that ladder. What to remember is that each of those loops essentially presents a decision, whether to go ahead or whether to stop, whether you have a failure point. And the approach that I often take is to look ahead and think about, okay, at which point would I need to have decisions with my staff in order for them to take an idea forward, but at which point do they need to come back and have a chat with me? And as you can see in terms of a decision diagram here, there may be different options that come out, and at each point you have a potential decision, they come in and have a chat with you. That's really important. This is how I set stage gates up within large organizations. This is how I develop that more entrepreneurial culture to get a level of control with employees as part of those startups as well, so that what you have is a clear set of defined parameters where people come back and have a conversation with you, and then you can decide whether to move forwards or not. And it allows you to have control while also empowering them to go ahead. And in some cases, it may be once they're on a particular pathway, you leave them to it until that project's finished. It may be in other cases that you have a small or larger decision that's needed to be made, and then once that's been in place, you can take that forward. The ability to start mapping and develop kind of key decision points for progression or for failure is really crucial. And it's a very simple stage gating mechanism that I've used with a number of organizations, be they small organizations or large. But importantly, they are very simple mechanisms that can be utilized, and they're easily communicable. What is crucial about that is that as you empower your employees, your stakeholders, and you communicate these processes, they can take them forward and they can utilize them. And then as they are perhaps working with other people, they can apply those principles and those processes themselves. And that's really crucial. That allows us to build a very good, controllable experimentation approach within the organization or outside of the organization. And it then allows us to build a much more entrepreneurial culture where everyone is happy with the processes that they have. And also, as you develop new ideas, look at new processes internally and so on, there is a clear set of parameters where you can control and reduce your risk and your resource input. And that, I think, is a crucial factor for me, that it's a very simple, very scalable, powerful mechanism that allows you as an entrepreneurial leader to empower your staff, but also control your exposure. And that's essentially where I want to leave you. Hopefully this video has been a useful video, and thank you for listening.